Good morning. So, this reading we're doing, I've set up a PowerPoint. So here's another experiment where I'm just, trying out new ways to present readings. I had been making slides in my Paint program, and I really like doing that. Graphic arts is fun to me. I do it a lot when I'm bored. Actually, I'm never bored, but like when I'm, just trying to chill out with my mind and take my mind off things. I guess it's my attempt at having fun. so, so anyways, I realized when I wrote my classes that I was having so many typos, and that if I just put them in a PowerPoint instead, then I would be notified of any grammar errors or misspellings, and that makes a lot more sense. So that was one thing about using PowerPoint. I started using it again. And now we're going to try reading this way, because I did a reading, my last reading, where I just had slides and I had them in a folder, and so we flipped back and forth in the folder. And I thought, well, what if I put them in this PowerPoint and see how we can play through it that way? Because I can go backwards and forwards. I don't believe this PowerPoint will let me zoom in, though. So I really did like being able to zoom in. So I'm probably still going to look for some new, different ways to do these. But for now, this, and I did the reading in such a way that I shouldn't have to zoom in. So this says, pick a reflection. Use your own intuition to decide. Oh, it says, of one of these reflections is for you. And it means if one. This is meant to offer information to reflect on and decide if it is a remembrance of value for you at this time. Only take what is helpful for you. So that's just the usual. And I think we just need to click on the screen. Here are the choices. You want to take a deep breath and take your time. Pause the video if you need more time. But from the left to the right, this is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. These are my watercolor cards, and I do channel from these cards at times. I may do a little bit of that in the reading. You may be drawn to more than one. It's a timeless reading, so whenever you find these, it would be pertinent for you. And it is meant to be helpful. Okay. I didn't give you a warning, so I'm just going to go back and say we're moving on to pick one. Pick one. Hi, you are the only one that I put on 2 slides, because after doing yours on 2 slides, I decided that I'd rather put the readings on 1 slide. So you have the added bonus of these 3 pictures. Now these pictures are simply meant to be kind of pieces of information that will clue you into this being your reading. Okay, so we've got some crawfish, a doorway with a cord running across it, kind of just laying there, and the door's open, so maybe there's something going on in this house, some work going on, a project being done in and out of the house, so the door's left open, something like that. And then we've got a sloth, and I know the glare is on this sloth picture, but this is actually a stuffed sloth, but he's propped up on a branch. So if any of those things are relevant for you, then you actually are the only pick that got 4 songs. So I feel like you have a lot going on in a lot of different directions, and also a need for rest. But let's look at the songs that came out for you, and these could be these songs could be relevant to you personally, or they could have more of a message for you, something to consider. They're also going to give me a vibe kind of about the reading. I am having a hard time speaking clearly, which is interesting. So there may be some sort of need to have a conversation that's difficult or something like that. Okay, so let's start with Ain't No Mountain High Enough by Marvin Gaye. Ho Hey by the Lumineers, Am I Wrong by Nico and Vinz, and Let Her Go by Passenger. So Ain't No Mountain High Enough is about a certain level of determination for being together, right? And then Ho Hey is that song where it's I belong to you, you belong to me, you're my sweetheart. And then Am I Wrong is another song about a relationship and about, like, I think this could be more. Am I wrong? Like, the, the lyrics are kind of saying that. And that's a song that I really like. I actually like all of these songs. And then we've got Let Her Go. If you love her, then you let her go. You let her go. So it's a song. It's actually a song reminiscing about letting go. That you didn't know you loved her until you let her go. Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to look at the words now on the right. We've got fruit, telepathy, Mars, found, self-love, flaws, hug, dreams, and stand. I just went through them fast because I'm just going to start the reading. Okay, we've got telepathy here, and we've got a difficult conversation to be had. So I think that there is some level of connection on a soul level or in the astrals with somebody that means a lot. I think there's a lot of stimuli and a lot of, like, different opinions about this, a lot of ways to think about it. Maybe there were a lot of karmas to clear between you and another person. Maybe the whole situation has been exhausting and given you a need to rest. I think that sometimes it's been stronger and one person hasn't been ready or something like that. But I believe this is saying, like, you're about to bear the fruit of a difficult situation because you're putting the work in. Like, you are going to you're going to be taking action. And I think you found the self-love it takes to love the flaws, or what you perceived as flaws. You know, we all have strengths and weaknesses. And if we judge ourselves for our weaknesses, then we're putting ourselves at a disadvantage, because it's really important to love all of ourselves or we'll start sabotaging ourselves, you know? And that inner self-talk is really important, especially if you've got somebody else who can kind of respond to it and hear it, right? Then we've got hug, dreams, and stand. And so I think for now, the relationship may have only happened astrally or on a soul level or energetically. There's been some sort of bond because there was a soul connection. And that chord in the picture just came to my awareness even more right now. And it could be that you're tied together in a way, right? You could be at a distance, like this sloth guy and these crawfish. They're at a like, this is from one region, this is from another. So you could be from two different backgrounds or locations. Could live far apart, but there's some sort of cord tethering you to each other. And you may see and visit each other in the dream state at this point. And then we got stand. And Mars was up here at the beginning of that. So it's kind of like your action and taking a stand is going to help ground this, right? Because maybe you didn't realize what it was, but you now do. Like, it was like, let this go, you know. Then you realize, oh, I think this was something important or special. And then it's like, oh, yeah, like, am I wrong? Like, is this something special? And I think so, and now I'm gonna make it happen. There's no mountain high enough to keep me away from you. you know? Like, there's been a lot of obstacles, I think, in this situation. Let me go to the next slide and we'll come back to this one if needed. So, definitely other people have been involved in this situation, right? And I got that from this card where there's a lot of different influences, a lot of different things to consider, a lot of different things in the way, a lot of distractions. Then we got healer and soul contract and amor. So here we have like that soul contract that we talked about with the cord connecting you and the special connection that you have. Amor is love. Sagittarius is seeing from a higher view, and it's that fire energy. And we've got cleared anxiety. So the anxiety would have stemmed from not trusting yourself. And if you made the decision to let something go that was important to you, then you could actually concede that you weren't making good decisions all the time, right? And then so it becomes hard to trust yourself, and that can cause anxiety. But I think that you've loved the parts of yourself that experienced this, or somebody else has, and this has allowed them to clear that anxiety. And then we've got conjunction and Venus. Conjunction is the word that we use in astrology to show two things meeting up in the sky. So that goes along with what we talked about in the previous slide about these two beings being connected ethereally. And then Venus is the planet of love, and it's a love bond. It's Venus, is all kinds of love. It's every bit of love that there is. It's not just the love of lovers, it's the love of brothers. And then we have Sun, Eris, forgiveness. So Sun is shining a light on something. Sun is really where we stand in our power. We had stand on that other slide. And Eris is chaos. So I think when you do kind of ground this, all these people that have been in the way and all this distractions and all, it's going to be a little bit of chaos because they have kind of started moving in a certain way, and they follow certain patterns and block things in certain ways. And like when you kind of shine a light on something and take a stand for something that hasn't been yet, it breaks out of a pattern and a comfort zone of some of the things you've either been doing or others have been doing. And I think other people are really involved in this. So you may have to give forgiveness for yourself, each other, and others. So there's like a lot of forgiveness to go on in this situation, because if you have a soul contract and you let each other go, there's some forgiveness for that. Forgive yourself for that, right? We're always doing our best. We don't know what we don't know. And forgiving the others because they have expectations, and even though that is an old, outdated way of relating that is dying now that we understand the need to be more balanced in our relationships and more free, they may not have known that, right? If maybe you do have people who were controlling and knowing that they were controlling, and it still behooves you to forgive them, because carrying grudges is really heavy and burdensome to you. So honor how you feel, then you can move to forgive them and understand that they felt a certain way that caused them to act that way, whether it was loving or not, whether it was chaos causing or not, whether it was because they were under an illusion or not. And I think that this is a very spiritual, I wanted to say union. And it will affect your reputation. It will be seen. Like, this is going to be seen by those people around you and others. I think there's something very important about this union and these two coming together. Like, they're coming together in love, and maybe whatever the reason was that this was let go, that having been overcome is a huge, beautiful thing, and that involves self-love. So it kind of paved a way maybe where patterns would have been followed before, and No one would have broken out of the comfort zones. I think this particular um, soul contract was to allure each other, perhaps, but at least one person, into self-love. I mean, this is very interesting, and I like it. I think it's a beautiful kind of love story. And to me, it makes sense because I know that we incarnate with other souls to clear karma. So that's what this person would have been doing, clearing karma. And the way we clear our karma is to accept and love the part of ourselves that have been experiencing it. So fully integrate it and with an understanding about what it is so it doesn't have to repeat. And then we are aware of more choices to make. We have more choices once we are seeing past the loops of energy that were once veiling our view. So we shine light on these patterns for others as well. When we take the initiative to heal them in ourselves and break free from them, all these other people that have been involved and watching will see this. And it gives them a choice too. And that might be the chaos for them, that some of them won't like having that choice. Some of them won't have room for you in their lives once you don't fit into that box that they were in. But some of them will be inspired, and some of them, it will be like a seed that when they're ready, they will take the steps themselves. But no matter what choice they make, the self-loving thing to do is to forgive them. And to forgive yourself for maybe staying in the patterns so long, or making the decisions you've made, for not trusting yourself. You know, this situation has prompted you to really pick up your healing abilities and be a healer. And love all these parts of you that hadn't yet been loved, and see this from a higher view. I mean, a higher view is really, you might even make a career out of this in some way. Speak about it, teach about it. You might do more with it than just be it. Okay, but there's a lot of love in this situation. So this is what your reading says. This is what it is. So remember, it's just information to reflect on. Only take it if it is helpful to you. Okay, I'm going to complete your reading there. Thank you for your time and for participating. I'm going to move on to pick number 2. I just need a sip of my drink, pick number 2. I'm going to try not to slurp, but this cup makes it hard. Okay. Pick number 2. I'm going to start with the song, which is in the middle here. What's Love Got to Do with It by Tina Turner. What's love but a second-hand emotion? What's love got to do with it? Who needs a heart when a heart can be broken? Okay. We've got a dilemma over here in Venus. Voice, cook, stillness, devotion, and move. The dilemma is on a block that has both white and red, so it represents a decision. So there's a dilemma in making a decision. And the red blocks represent love. So there's a really devoted love here. But there's also a parting of ways to venture out on own, into places that were previously cut off. We've got the time period of 5 years. Chiron is the wounded healer. And meaning like he could heal others, but he couldn't fully heal himself. Life of the party. Sunrise. So sunrise is like a new day, a fresh way of seeing things, and this would be happening after a parting of ways. Maybe you were in a relationship that didn't have love, and you have parted ways with that in order to allow someone that you do feel love with, but maybe there's some time to be still with self at first. You had to find your voice and say it in the most loving way, and I think it was a difficult decision to make. Pythia is it's the asteroid that represents the act of divination. So you may be getting advice or pick a cards or doing your own cards. You may be having psychics talk to you about this, but where you were blocked away from something, now you have moved into a place where you will be lining up with it within 3 weeks. So you intercepted to progression. So then we've got MC, that's your career, or not just your career, but where the world sees you. The world might see you as someone who doesn't lead from your heart, but that's something that you've healed from. And now you really embody this heart and love, and like I think it's something you're actually going to master. And the way you master it is reprogramming yourself. So the situations that you've left behind were not based on love, but you will be using your heart and mastering the use of that and reprogramming yourself in such a way that you can do that. Like you can have it all. You can have whatever the reason was that you felt you needed to not use your heart, which was probably safety and trust and maybe commitment and things like that. You will have those things by reprogramming those as possibilities and choices in your life going forward. Because you can see there's an old way of being here, and then there's a completely new way of being. And the new way of being involves emotions, whereas before the emotions were kind of hidden behind a wall. So you're opening up to a new chapter in your life which allows love, and it may involve having to leave behind people that you were devoted to or that you had in your life for other reasons other than love. And you may have still loved them. I'm not saying that, these emotions didn't secretly love them, but I think that you're moving. But if they were matching up with you when you were in this state, then that would be unhealthy. Then they would have had to progress as well. Like you were totally cut off from some of these parts of yourself that are now being accepted, that are now coming to life to enjoy life. And definitely spending some time in stillness with yourself and listening to your own inner voice has been part of this. Now, cook and move. Let's see. These things might be involved in this, right? Like you may have to move, like especially if you were sharing a residence with somebody that you were relating with that didn't have to do with love. And cook. So maybe this is a relevant thing for somebody. Somebody's here's a cook, or within the relationship there was cooking, or someone had that role. Like maybe you were with somebody because they were a good cook. I don't know. Maybe you are opening up something else for you to do, and it has to do with cooking. So that one I'm not tying into the rest of everything we got here, but it could have been that this just needed to cook. Like it wasn't progressed enough, right? It wasn't like well done enough for you to make the choice before now. Now was the time for it to be done. Okay. So really, you've just been reborn, or that's what you're going through in the middle of or about to go through. Remember, this is just information to reflect on, so only take it if it's helpful for you. And I really want to thank you for your time. It's very interesting information. And I'm going to end your reading there and move on to the next. We got pick 3. Okay, pick 3. Let's start with your song. We've got We're Not Gonna Take It by Twisted Sister. We're not gonna take it. No, we ain't gonna take it. We're not gonna take it anymore. We'll fight, yeah. We're free, yeah. You're right. You'll see. Oh. Okay. Somebody's done just going with the status quo, right? We've got skepticus, which is representing being skeptical. And then there's this mystery, and you actually got two of the only I believe these are the only mysteries in the thing. I looked on both sides. There's nothing written on the back. So it's easy to be skeptical when you don't know, right? You're in the unknown. And maybe there is something you learned about how to handle the unknown or what to do when you're in the unknown. Maybe you're supposed to figure it out. Maybe you're supposed to cover all your bases. Maybe you're supposed to backtrack into the known, go the known way. You know, maybe there's something that you learned to do before. But I believe that at this time, you are not going along with the status quo. You're saying, like, you're reparenting yourself on how to handle this time of unknown. And maybe comforting the, like, scared child part of you that is scared of what could happen in this unknown, or this adult part of you who's scared that you don't know what will happen, or how you'll make a living, or where you'll live, and things like that, right? So where you're skeptical and not wanting to trust, you're actually comforting and loving that part of yourself, and you're being very patient with yourself as each fear and each resistance comes up to your attention. And I believe that they are coming one by one right now, because you're in process of building this rainbow bridge where you're taking one way of being and thinking and feeling and bringing it to a much higher level where you can see beyond it, and you can be free of that limitation and be comfortable in the trust and the knowing and the faith. We've got the time period of 1 week, and then vertex. Vertex represents fate. It means that this was the time for this to happen. This was something that needed to happen. Third house is talking about communication or short distance travel. So there may be some short distance travel involved, but also communication. It could be with siblings and neighbors. And whatever this communication is, it's going to be very friendly. And maybe it wasn't friendly. Maybe it was less friendly before, or maybe you've always been friendly. But through this kind of friendly communication, I think that you might even, like, get an idea, or, you know, you're just going to experience something that will, I want to say, give you a lot of hope, but really just give you this knowing. Like, you'll just have this more knowing of, like, oh, yes, things are working out. Like, because maybe you didn't have a good relationship with these people before, and now it's just going more smooth, that, you know, since you've been loving these parts of yourself and not willing to live in the same old way. So relationships that weren't as friendly before are becoming more friendly. People are meeting you on a different level now. And so you're expecting that for yourself and them as well. And maybe being very patient where that isn't the case. We got bonded, and bonded is a red block, and so it has to do with love. So you have a really strong love bond, and I think this is with yourself. I think you've really built a relationship with yourself through this reparenting process and through this addressing your fears and just adding love to each thing, each situation, each understanding that you had that lacked love, that was, you know, giving you fear. You're building these bridges and just loving yourself, bonding yourself to yourself, being able to embody a higher version of yourself. This may cause you to relocate. We've got sensor, phone. Maybe you don't want to talk to some certain people. Maybe you're not taking certain people's phone calls anymore, right? We've got decor, like maybe you're also paying attention to what you surround yourself with and looking at, clutter, removing clutter in your home, making things look prettier, doing spring cleaning, um, complimenting the neighbors on the nice things they have, things like that. You're breaking out of the constraints of time by loving yourself through any of those blocks about the unknown, because outside of time everything is possible. There's limitless possibilities, and there's no limitation of time. Like there's no sequential way for something to happen. Like we may have been taught, like, do this then this happens, or it takes this long to do this. For instance, healing. We may have been taught, you get a scrape on your knee, it takes a week to heal. Well, outside the constraints of time, that's not the case. You can heal instantly. And personally, I have experience with instant healings, and I always um, am in a meditation that brings my energy outside the constraints of time when I do these things, when I participate in assisting these things. And it's just a matter of bringing our energy up there and reminding our energy body that that can be done. So all our power is in the now, and I think you're knowing that, and you're finding what you're doing, what it takes to be in that place of now, where all your power is. All your power to decide is in the now. All your power to focus is in the now. All your power to be is in the now. If you are lost in thoughts of the past or the future, then your mind is busy and distracted from where its power is, which is the now. So if you're focusing on the past, you will be recreating the past. If you're focusing on the future, you can get stuck in trying to manifest something. It's not a bad idea all the time, but it's definitely important to come back to the now so that you can navigate and know which decisions to make to get you to that point. Okay, this process takes a lot of patience. Patience is a time constraint, right? But there's no time. When you're outside of time, your patience is eternal. So I believe that you're finding that for yourself. You're finding that, you don't need things to happen right now. That you understand that they will happen when you line up with them, when you allow yourself to be in the place vibrationally for it to come. And that you are here experiencing time on Earth until you're not. Until you don't need it anymore. And I think you are kind of cutting out certain distractions and things that were maybe cluttering or taking away from your focus to be in the now. This is why people talk about not being gossipy and, things like that. Maybe people that call you want to be gossipy, and you're just like, well, that is a pointless place to spend my energy. I'm not going to take this anymore. Yeah, so you're really bridging the gap for yourself between, certain ways of feeling and knowing, to going into this like, well, what I knew before doesn't necessarily hold true here. Like, what's true here? Like, I don't know. Let me observe. Let me be in the now. Let me discern. Let me be curious and play and see and discover. Right? Wow, what a beautiful place to be. Well, pick 3, I'm going to end your reading there. Remember that this is just information to reflect on, and only take it if it's helpful. And perhaps we'll see you in a future one. I can't remember if this is 3 or 4. Okay, here's 4. Hi, pick 4. Okay, so let's start with the song, which I've a little bit covered up here, but it's Shape of You by Ed Sheeran. I'm in love with the shape of you. Push and pull like a body too. Love with your body. Last night you were in my room. Now my bed sheets smell like you. Every day discovering something new. I'm in love with your body. I really like that song. It's like a song that always gets me dancing. And I think that you may be falling in love with your own self, like your own body, building a relationship with your body. I believe that is what we're talking about here. And being very patient with your body, right? Looking at it from a different view than you used to, realizing its abilities to heal, to carry you, to do more than you thought it could do. You are accepting and understanding the way your body is, and not judging and holding grudges and judgment for your body. You are really just, I think you are really thinking highly of and letting your body know that it's your home, it's where you want to be, it's the place that your energy gets housed in your vessel, that you guys are friends, that you want to work together. Your body may not have known that you wanted to work together, and I think maybe you are ending a time where you didn't work with your body, where you didn't accept your body and understand your body and act like a friend to your body. Maybe you had some abuse on your body in order to escape certain things that were going on in your life. But it was always this time that you are going to befriend your body and be just really, I wanted to say, like joined in, like integrated into your body much more. And this is a gift that you are giving yourself, where you are just becoming more in tune with what your body needs, recognizing where there's food sensitivities, what your body does and doesn't like, maybe wants something, creating meals that are really much more appealing to your body, something different, something that you are, it's a way to show your body how much you appreciate it. You know, you're creating these delicious meals or simple meals or healthier meals, or creating a situation where, you know, snacks are all ready for you and they're healthy and they're cut out to portion size and things like that. Like, it was within your time here on earth that this would be the time that you would really get in integrity with yourself and what your values are around your body and your food and your relationship between both. We've got the time period of 1 week. I believe what you're doing is shedding your ancestral patterns for how you treat your body and how you live in your body. And I think you might even be using a lot of affirmations to talk nicely to your body and to talk those loving words of reassurance to your body. And I think that you would see this stuff in your birth chart if you kind of took a look, that this is a issue that's been highlighted for you for the past 10 years. So you've been learning a lot from it, and you've been maybe even comparing yourself to other people, looking at others and kind of comparing yourself. But you're putting an end to that completely. I think you're now just like accepting all parts of yourself, even the parts that put yourself in comparison. Those parts are being loved and accepted and understood too. Like, there's no part of you that you're not willing to love anymore. And it's just a matter of how long it will take to make sure that that part of you feels loved. And you are willing to do the work that it takes to do so, and really enjoy the process as well, though. There may be some falling away of things that no longer serve you, like the space of creation is there because some things had to crumble, some things got into chaos, like maybe old habits where you used to be around people or be around things that were kind of chaotic. now you're using that space to create something new for yourself, something that makes more sense, right? Like maybe you didn't have a eating schedule, maybe you just had all kinds of processed food or snacks on hand, and it was kind of chaotic how you ate, just whatever you felt like, or or urged to, or there were so many choices that you took a little bit of everything or a lot of everything. And now you're just creating yourself something more structured and happy, and like just knowing that you've got this, knowing that this is something that you feel good about and something that's important to you. I think you've really recognized how important it is to you to provide the foundation for your body to grow healthily and to support you healthily. And to really, I think being in nature is an important part of it as well. Because if you look at this card, I'm seeing like you're following a path and it's taking steps. And each time you kind of come across a rock, like in your path, I don't think you're stumbling on it. You're just taking the time to kind of get to know it, to accept it, to understand it, to see what is this in my path? Why am I still stuck on doing that? Or, what is it that's in me that wants to tell me that I'm doing a bad job or that I'm not worthwhile, or, just addressing any like inner self-talk that's not nice, or doubts or fears that come up during the process of really making your body your home. Wow. And this is like the way that you're healing the pain of anything that hasn't been the case, that hasn't been the case. And then this is wisdom gained. You're like, now you know both sides. You know what it's like to not love yourself, and you know what it's like to love yourself. So you are actually an example of the bridge that can happen between, those things. And it's a beautiful thing, and I'm sure it feels very wonderful. So remember, this is just pieces of information to reflect on. It's meant to be helpful, so only take it if it is helpful to you. Oh wow, a crow just went by. A crow just went by crowing, and he's flying. And a crow is just signifying this step into a new kind of way of being, and that's what I believe you're doing. So, if you haven't been doing this yet, then maybe you're just about to step into kind of this more present, focused place with your body, just really loving your body, falling in love with your body more and more every day. And you'll see this gift that your body is to you, and you may have not even experienced it before, the way you're about to. Okay, so I'm going to complete your reading there, and I'm going to move on to the next one. Alright, pick 5. Alright, we're going to start with the song New Soul by Yael Neem. And songs like, I'm a new soul, came into this strange world. I can never remember the lyric, but it's like hoping to learn something about something. So you're learning about life as a new soul here. That kind of is like, this isn't how I'm used to living. Like maybe you're in Christ consciousness. Maybe you're in this like more unity-based place, and to come into this earth at the 3D level where we are in duality is quite a lesson plan for you. And let's see, you're seeing things from an angle that you hadn't seen them before. It's brand new for you to look at creation like this. But you are here to create something. You're seeding something that is true to you, that's true to your soul, that's part of you. And you're doing it here on Earth. That's why you came. And it has something to do with a karmic pattern. So it doesn't mean that it's necessarily your karmic pattern. Karma is just an energy that's been repeating. But I feel like you are putting it to rest, and it's something that a lot of people don't see going on. It's kind of under the radar of a lot of people, but you can see it. You see it because you're at a certain angle. And I don't think you're coming in judging it, saying it's wrong or anything. I think you're just honoring the process of what created it, what it is, maybe even what purpose it has served. but also like where it is a weakness for people, like why they can't see it and stuff. You're just honoring of that. Now, I think that the method that you want to replace it with, or the view or understanding that you have to provide, may allow something much more fun. Like I think you will be using an angle of fun, because we got life of the party up here. Then we got ritual and Libra. So it's like you will ritualistically be creating balance in the situation. So whatever the situation that you see, it's something that you see, and it's something that you're seeding the possibility of for others as well. And it's cutting off a place where people could easily go off path. Okay. So maybe it's like this place where you kind of see everyone kind of hits that and then just like ends up going off path. So it's maybe something very disempowering to people. Or it's something maybe that even makes people content, because they think this is how you feel about this and this is what you think. Maybe it's the choice to go into the victim mode, or to see things through the lens of lack or something like that. But whatever it is, you are actually putting an end to it. Like, you are making sure that it's an option from now on for you and for anyone who sees that inspiration by looking at you, to create a new choice for themselves. But not just kind of running away from and creating a solution based on the avoidance of the issue, but including in that the forgiveness of the issue, so it alleviates the karmic pattern, so it's not looping anymore, right? And the forgiveness is for self, of any participation that self had in the process of it perpetuating, and then others. And I think that this is something that you're honoring, the forgiveness process, because you understand energy, how it works, and how, you can't just push it away or act in a way that avoids something. You really need to integrate it in order to alleviate it, and let it stop looping, and let it stop waiting to be understood. Like, understand it fully. Understand that, while it may have been bringing people off path, whatever they did off path was useful too, right? But this is giving an option where there wasn't one, to not get caught. And this, I kind of want to say it's like a trap. I accidentally tapped that, but I didn't get to talk about this yet. Arachne is the asteroid signifying the story we tell, the web we weave, right? So I believe that you're laying a new foundation for a new story, like a new way to perceive and proceed through a certain kind of snafu where a lot of people have a weakness to fall into something which is out of balance. Maybe it's addiction, right? Because we've got life of the party, and what causes addiction is someone trying to cope with a certain energy that's out of balance, that it's not yet understood, that's unpleasant. And this addiction can kind of keep people in a cycle for a long, long time, right? And that cycle repeating causes a lot of chaos in their lives, and it keeps them from going towards what they wanted to achieve here, because we've certainly understood addiction enough times. Enough people have looked at addiction and come back from addiction and know addiction from all the angles. So we as a populace have the ability to break out of addictions, because we've understood what causes them, we've understood the choices that were made to get into them, we've understood the choices that need to be given to get out of them, and we understand what needs to happen to stay out of them. And so I think this is going to be where it's not as easy to fall into that trap anymore of addiction, because whatever it is, it's like something you're seeding. Here, see how this looks like a little sperm amongst the chaos? It's like you're planting this ability to avoid that. So I think you might even be doing it from a very, very early age with pregnant people, pregnant women maybe, or with children. Just like really seeding the knowledge of the importance of how to create the balance and not rob people of the ability to bypass any addictive tendencies that have been perpetuating in their family line or in the society around them, while honoring that it did exist and that it did serve a purpose for the time that it was had. You know, not doing it from an angle of judgment or disdain or disgust or burden. You know, really beautiful, really, really beautiful. Wow, 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 wow. I really like it. So this is just some information to reflect on. Remember, only take it if it's helpful to you. I really appreciate you being here, and I'm going to end your reading there.